I may have caused my mom to lose her life savings. I believe my parents loved, or maybe liked me or at least tolerated me. I was the middle child and got treated as such. As in I was always ignored or my needs were skipped over in favor of my siblings. An example, parents paid for my brother's college. When I went to college they had no money. I had to scrounge up for it myself. Then when my sister went to college all of a sudden they had money again. I am 2 years younger than my brother and she is 2 years younger than me. Which means there was crossover time when I was in college at the same time my brother was and when my sister was in college at the same time I was, yet I never got a dime. I mean after all they couldn't stop paying for my brother they said or they would have lost money on their investment and I was figuring it out so I might as well keep figuring it out because their princess needed help. She couldn't be expected to go to school and work. Of course not. She was too fucking stupid. Let it be known that I got my BA and Masters. My brother eventually dropped out of school his senior year because he wanted to be an artist. And my sister was kicked out of school her junior year for selling coke to her sorority sisters. But I graduated. Yay, but my graduation ceremony definitely wasn't full of pomp and circumstances. After all, how could my parents be expected to show up while they were consoling their princess who was kicked out of school and facing charges? And how could they expect relatives to show up? It would be too embarrassing for the family. And how could I expect a graduation gift? I didn't, by the way. They just made sure to make a point I wasn't getting one, when they needed to pay for my sister's legal fees. Of my worth was a tree, this was another notch taken out of the bark by an axe. I pretty much limited my connection with the family at that point. Of course I could not complain about anything because when I did all I got told was such is life, or I will be a better person because of it or I would appreciate it more because I worked so hard for it. My father passed 2 years after I graduated. I did feel guilty, I distanced myself. That did not last long. We were not rich of course. But he did have a will. And through his work he had $1 million life insurance. My mom was still relatively young, well I mean she was younger than I am now so yeah she was young so the major of that money of course was gonna go to her. She did work, but nothing substantial. She was a secretary at the school district. This was the early 90s so the BS title of executive assistant has not been made up yet. Well, we went to the lawyers for the reading of the will and with every word, I could feel that axe coming hard to swing at my bark again. I wasn't there expecting the Hope Diamond, but I was curious what my father felt I was worthy of. Well, of course, the house and all its furnishings went to my mother. Side note, it wasn't specified in the will, but my dad had an old large radio. The kind families would gather around back in the 50s I guess and listen to shows before TVs became common. When I was 15 my dad and I found it in an old thrift shop and together we worked on it. We actually got it working though more upgraded, and we refinished the woodwork and it actually looked beautiful. I wish I had a picture of it still. My dad made a comment that one day I could have it. Yeah, Mom sold it after Dad died. We worked on it for about 6 months. But she said oh I didn't think you wanted it. Whack, goes the axe. Anyways back to the will, as expected, Mom got the house and furnishings and $900,000, and no ill will for that. My brother got my dad's 1967 Stingray Corvette. I wasn't expecting it, but definitely jealous. He also gave him $25,000. My sister was given $40,000. Leaving $40,000. I'm cool with that. Yeah, that didn't happen. I got $15,000. The remaining money was used to pay for the funeral and subsequential party. I mean really? I'm not sure if I have a right to be mad, but I was definitely confused, hurt, sad. I had tears. Was it because my dad was gone at this point or was it because to my parents I wasn't equal? Did I matter? I did distance myself from the family at this point. I couldn't bear to be around them anymore. A couple years later I did muster the strength to have a conversation with my mom. I laid it all out and talked to my mom. Asked her why there was so much disparity. How it really crushed me and did havoc to my self-esteem. I'm not sure what I expected, but what she said sent a chill down my spine. Such is life. I got up and left and again kept my distance. I didn't use this as motivation to slay the business world unfortunately. Stuck in middle management basically, but still making decent money. My siblings, with all their privileges however, are not living the dream. My brother, essentially sugging on the government teat, and my sister, unfortunately has been to rehab more times than I can count. My mom came to me recently asking for help. She fell for a scam online, losing all her money. She needed money, and it wasn't a loan. She said I owed her since she was my mom and she raised me. And if I didn't the bank would probably foreclose. All I could think to say was such is life. And walked away. Do I feel bad? Honestly maybe. But I really don't think so. My real confession, I sent my mom's email into so many suspicious websites, I was just hoping she would get tons of junk mail and corn, but I wonder if that's where the scammer got her information.